little soccer in elementary school, but I'm the first to admit that I do not care about sports. Although I live in a place that values who wins which championship and have the dates tattooed across their biceps, I've never been that into any of it. I remember being bought a t-shirt after LSU won the Sugar Bowl in 2004. I remember sort of watching the Super Bowl in 2010, and then watching my Facebook feed explode with clips of the celebration in the streets of New Orleans after the Saints won. I've seen people's mood changing based on where their team landed in a ranking. I've watched people paint their bodies and spend thousands of dollars on merchandise and tickets, and spend hours and hours and hours of their time yelling at their television. I didn't even remotely understand the appeal until, that is, the high school football season of 2016, when I actually spent some time under those Friday night lights. Don't get me wrong, I didn't really watch the game, but something did happen. It was my second year as a teacher, and I had been talked into being the color guard sponsor. That meant handling money and ordering flags and supervising 3 to 4 practices a week, and it meant attending football games. In the entirety of my high school career as a student, I think I had attended one freshman football game where my school's team scored 1 touchdown at the very end because the other team thought the game was over. But in Ponchatoula, football is a serious game. Every week, hundreds of students, parents, and fans fill the small stadium to cheer on those boys. This is where it got interesting. Sitting on the track that circled the field, I witnessed something I can only describe as insane. These people, who could have had nothing else in common, came together in camaraderie to cheer in the hope of the same thing. They bonded over something so simple as some teenage boys running up and down a field with a ball, hoping they cross a certain spray-painted line. And when they do, that's where the ceremony comes in. The band and color guard jump to their feet to sing and dance. The parents are filled with pride. The fellow students shout at the top of their lungs. Everyone knows the words to all of the songs they sing together every week. The togetherness of it all becomes almost religious. The excitement of recognizing a song played by the marching band fills you up with joy. So when I heard Ponchatoula's team would be playing near me, I decided to take the small drive to see that color guard I missed so much. The feeling returned immediately. The overwhelming thought that someone could take one step closer to their playoff game. The hysteria of pom-poms and chants, and the possibility of a free foam football thrown by the cheerleaders. The intensity of it all. I got to see girls I taught as freshmen, now juniors and seniors, see how far they've come, watch them lead with pride, watch them pass down what they've learned to underclassmen who will pass it down to the next group in the years to come, to hear their plans for their expansive and inevitably incredible futures. The first away game I went to with no other sponsor and no coach to lead the way, I gathered the girls into a circle before the game began. I recounted stories of how my English students, who I taught every day, would ask me if I loved them. Some of whom I had to tell I loved teaching them, and I hoped they would have a great day. I looked around to each girl and told that color guard that I had no reason to lie to them, and that with all the honesty I had, that I loved them. Being a sponsor was so rewarding in ways teaching never could be. Despite the long hours and the non-existent paycheck, it became my favorite part of being a teacher. For a season of my life, my Friday nights were spoken for. I learned how enjoyable it is to let yourself fall into it, to see it as fun because that's what it will be, to realize that value is in whatever you give value to, and that sometimes I can love football.
is shiny.
I am like tan and I'm glowing and I'm Is that tennis class I'm taking? You're taking tennis?
Wait a second.
Hey!
You're my student teacher, right?
Yeah, and I taught at your school for 2 years. Yeah, you're in the wrong spot.